You'd think guarding a movie star would be all glamour and red carpets. In reality, it feels more like babysitting a spoiled millionaire who thinks the world bends to his smirk. At least, that's what I told myself the first time I met him. But God, those eyes, those damn eyes made it impossible to look away. Los Angeles wasn't new to me. I had seen it all. Glittering boulevards, shadowy alleys, paparazzi chasing after fleeting stars. I wasn't impressed. My job was simple: protect, observe, stay invisible. But when the agency assigned me to Ethan Blake, Hollywood's rising star, I had no idea my professionalism was about to unravel thread by thread. He was America's sweetheart on screen, but a scandal magnet off it. Tall, broad shoulders, a jawline that looked like it was carved by the gods. And those blue eyes, sharp, restless, carrying the kind of sadness people overlook because they're too busy admiring his smile. "You're late," he said when we first met, standing by the window of his penthouse. The city sprawled out behind him. His tone was sharp, almost arrogant. "Traffic," I replied, deadpan. I never explained myself to clients. He turned then, smirking like he had just found a new toy. "So you're the guy who's supposed to keep me alive?" I didn't bother answering. His gaze lingered on me longer than it should have, lingering like a challenge, or maybe an invitation. That was the first moment I realized protecting Ethan wasn't going to be just another job. The weeks that followed tested every rule I'd set for myself as a bodyguard. Ethan was reckless. He snuck out of premieres, picked fights with reporters, and ignored every piece of advice I gave him. But beneath the chaos, I saw glimpses of a man desperately trying to breathe in a world that wouldn't let him. One night, after a movie wrap party, he refused the car and insisted on walking. Paparazzi swarmed like vultures, flashes exploding in the night. I shoved through them, shielding him, my arm brushing against his. He leaned closer than necessary, his breath warm near my ear. "You don't like me very much, do you?" he whispered, half amused, half daring me to admit it. I glanced at him, the cameras still snapping. "I don't have to like you. I just have to keep you alive." His smile faltered, replaced by something quieter, almost fragile. "What if I don't want to be saved?" The words haunted me for nights after. Despite myself, I started noticing the little things. The way he stared at the ocean during his rare moments alone, as if searching for freedom in its endless horizon. The way his laugh when genuine was nothing like the scripted ones on screen. And the way his hand would linger near mine when no one was watching, as though he was asking for something he couldn't say out loud. But I had rules. Rules that kept me alive, that kept me sane. Rule number 1. Never get involved with a client. Rule number 2. Never let feelings cloud your judgment. I broke them both the night Ethan showed up at my apartment, drunk and furious. "They don't care about me," he said, his voice cracking. He stood in the doorway like a broken version of the man the world worshipped. "I'm just their money machine. And why do you look at me like I'm someone worth saving?" I wanted to push him away. I wanted to remind him of boundaries, professionalism, everything that was supposed to keep us from crossing that dangerous line. But instead, I found myself reaching for him, my hand brushing his cheek, wiping away a tear he didn't want anyone to see. "You're not alone," I whispered. The silence between us was deafening. Then, slowly, he leaned in, his forehead resting against mine. His breath was unsteady, his hands trembling. For the first time, Ethan Blake wasn't a movie star. He was just a man, flawed, hurting, human. And I couldn't look away. From that night on, something shifted. Our stolen moments grew bolder, our conversations deeper. Still, the world outside remained ruthless. Rumors spread. Photographers followed. Every glance, every touch felt like walking a tightrope with no safety net. One evening, during a rooftop gathering thrown by his producers, Ethan pulled me aside. The city glittered beneath us, the Hollywood sign glowing faintly in the distance. "Sometimes I think about just disappearing," he confessed, his voice low, almost a secret. "No cameras, no contracts, no lies. Just being myself. With someone who sees me." My chest tightened. "And who do you think sees you?" His eyes met mine, raw and unguarded. "You," It was the kind of word that could break me or save me. And in that moment, I didn't care which. The night of the rooftop confession should have been a turning point, the kind that rewrites both your destiny and your fears. But life has a way of punishing people who dare to want more. The very next morning, scandal erupted like wildfire. Photos of us leaving my apartment hit every tabloid, headlines screaming about Ethan Blake's secret romance with his bodyguard. My phone buzzed endlessly with calls from the agency, threats from producers, and messages from strangers who suddenly thought they owned pieces of our lives. "You have to deny it," Ethan's manager barked, pacing the hotel suite. "This is career suicide, Ethan. Do you understand? You'll lose everything." Ethan just sat there, pale but calm, his gaze flicking between me and the window. He hadn't slept. Neither had I. "Say it was a misunderstanding," the manager insisted. "Say he's just an employee, nothing more." Something inside me cracked. Before I could speak, Ethan finally stood, his voice steady but cold. "He's not just an employee." The room froze. His manager stared at him as if he had lost his mind. Maybe he had. Or maybe, for once, he had found it. "Ethan," I started, but he cut me off. "No," he said, his eyes locking on mine. "I'm done hiding." The weeks that followed were brutal. The studio suspended his contracts. Fans split into war camps, half cheering, half condemning. My agency dropped me without hesitation. Suddenly, we were two men against a storm designed to tear us apart. And yet, in the eye of that storm, we found something unshakable. Nights were no longer about red carpets or cameras. They were about cheap takeout in my small apartment, laughter that belonged to no one else, and the warmth of his body beside mine when the world outside grew too loud. One evening, as rain hammered against the window, Ethan lay beside me, staring at the ceiling. "Do you regret it?" he asked softly. I turned toward him. "What? Us? Me? All of this?" His voice trembled on the last word, the weight of everything pressing down on him. I reached for his hand, lacing my fingers through his. "Not once. Not ever." He closed his eyes, exhaling like he had been holding his breath for years. "I don't know how this ends," he admitted. "Then we'll write the ending ourselves," I said. The ending came sooner than I expected, though not the way I imagined. Months later, Ethan was offered a role in an indie film, small budget, raw script, nothing like the blockbusters he was known for. It wasn't about fame. It was about truth. The director wanted him, not the persona the world demanded. On the day of the premiere, he asked me to walk in with him. No disguises, no hiding in the shadows. Hand in hand. The theater buzzed with whispers when we arrived, cameras flashing like lightning strikes. My instinct screamed to pull away, to shield him, to protect. But Ethan squeezed my hand tighter, his chin lifted, his eyes burning with defiance and love. Inside, the film rolled. It wasn't polished. It wasn't glamorous. It was real. Ethan's performance bared his soul, raw and vulnerable. A man unmasking himself before the world. When the credits ended, the silence broke into applause that shook the theater walls. I looked at him, tears stinging my eyes. For the first time, Ethan Blake wasn't just surviving. He was living. Later that night, on the quiet balcony of the hotel where the after-party buzzed in the distance, he pulled me close. The city sprawled beneath us, endless and alive. "Do you ever think we were meant to meet?" he asked. I smirked. "Pretty sure you hated me the first week." He laughed, leaning his forehead against mine. And now, I whispered, "I'd fight the whole damn world for you." He kissed me then, slow and certain, the kind of kiss that makes time irrelevant. In that moment, the chaos, the noise, the world, it all faded. There was only us. The years ahead wouldn't be easy. We knew that. Fame is ruthless, love is fragile, and the two rarely coexist without scars. But scars tell stories, and ours was one worth telling. Because at the end of it all, Ethan wasn't just the movie star I had to protect. He was the man who taught me that sometimes the greatest risk isn't taking a bullet or facing down enemies. Sometimes, the greatest risk is daring to love someone so openly that the world can't help but see. And as long as his eyes kept finding mine across every crowded room, I knew I'd never look away. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.